It was another cold day here in Arkansas, but fortunately not as cold as it's been all week. Thank you for joining us tonight at 6 with this beautiful sunset. I'm Sarah Horbacewicz. We did see some sunshine today before this sunset, just enough to start maybe thawing your car out. And meteorologist Corrales Ortiz is with us tonight. Corrales, will the melting continue or should we prepare to maybe skate over some sidewalks again tonight?
First of all, I want to point out that is an amazing sunset.
It's gorgeous.
Isn't it? Honestly, and yes. So although we're going to be seeing, well below freezing temperatures tonight, we are going to be seeing the refreezing process again. So watch out for some slick spots. But if we go further into our forecast, we have some much warmer days in store. So whatever is left over is not going to be lasting very long. Here's how cold we were this morning. We were in the 20s and even in the teens. Look at Fayetteville. They saw morning low of 4 degrees. So very, very frigid morning for us. We warmed up pretty nicely though into the 40s after being stuck in the 30s for the last couple of days. Even saw 50s there on the map in southern Arkansas. So we're slowly starting to warm up. Right now, 36 this evening. Temperatures will continue to drop pretty, I want to say rapidly, especially with these clear skies in place. Looking at your hour by hour, we'll be seeing temperatures around the mid to low 20s once again as we go into tonight. Again, we could see some of that refreezing. Watch out for some slick spots that are still, kind of left on over. I'll have a look at what we could see going into the new week. Honestly, it's looking pretty good. I'll have the details in your forecast coming up.
All right, thanks, Corrales. I'm excited for that warm up. But over the past few days, the icy roads created challenges for drivers, leading to RDOT reporting nearly 200 car accidents during this winter storm. Now, mechanics are preparing for a busy week. THV11's Ian Russell spent the day at one Little Rock shop where the owner says there's some things you should know before you stop by.
If your car was damaged after this past week's storms, it's time to get it fixed. For One Little Rock Body Shop, they say they're ready for the increase, but there's some issues that you might run into. After the snow and ice comes business for D. Coleman.
We do anticipate an influx of phone calls during this time.
The third-generation owner of Coleman & Son Automotive, a mechanic shop in Little Rock, knows winter weather makes for some issues.
We know that people will get out and venture out into these dangerous territories.
Thankfully, this storm might have caused less issues. A lot of people stayed home. Coleman says that's smart. Most of the time, it's not worth it.
Stay at home. Yeah, don't get out if you don't have to. The cost of the repairs that are going to be needed on your vehicle will exceed the amount of need that you're going to get.
But let's say you did go out during the storm and your car's not acting right. What should you do?
You want to pay attention to noise and also vibration in this type of weather. Your car will tell you exactly what's going on with it if it has a problem. Just listen to it. If it doesn't sound normal, be sure to get it checked out at your local shop.
There are some things you should know if you have to take your car in, though. Supply chain issues haven't spared Coleman or any shop you may go to.
Can I get the parts? And that's the biggest thing. We've been telling this is pre-storm. Can we get the parts in time to get the vehicle back on the road?
So as Central Arkansas starts to melt, Coleman says have some patience.
Not much we can do at that point.
They'll get you taken care of. It just might take a little bit longer.
It's a waiting game, waiting on those parts to get here. And they're saying they're on boats, so we just kind of have to go with the flow of our suppliers to see if they can supply us as soon as they get supplied.
In Little Rock, Ian Russell, THV 11 News.
And Coleman says that those issues are extending to almost every repair shop as they are all waiting for parts to come in. Now a fire forced 2 people to leave their home in North Little Rock last night and sent one of them to the hospital with smoke inhalation. Fire officials responded to East 18th Street, where crews were able to get the fire under control. There was still damage to the home, and the Red Cross has already been called in to support the victims. Meanwhile, Little Rock police are investigating a homicide on South Harrison Street from last night. Authorities say there's one victim. This happened when apparently 2 men got into a fight that turned deadly. We'll be sure to bring you more information as soon as it becomes available on our website at thv11.com. And Bangin' in the Rock. It's a famous documentary that highlighted the notorious drug and gang wars in the 90s here in Arkansas. It featured one man who had a front row seat as an original member. But as we've seen over the years, he changed his ways and now runs a nonprofit. THV 11's Jade Jackson had a chance to sit down with him and his nephew for a deeper conversation for Black History Month.
Young man, what is it that you want to be when you grow up? And loud loud and proud with all my chest, I said, I want to be a Crip.
Tim Campbell says it was career day when at just 6 years old, he shocked an audience of adults and students by wanting to be just like his family.
I was only articulating to them what I deemed as a hero.
And what you've seen.
His uncle Phil Jackson, an OG Crip member. You may remember him from banging in the Rock.
When they say your uncle's notorious, I was very notorious.
He ran the gangs on 14th and Wolf Street back in the 80s, indicted and sent to prison in the 90s.
We played a part in bringing the chaos. Look, it was people dying every day that you know. You can't prepare yourself for that.
With a bleak outlook on life, he had nothing to lose. But he says it was seeing innocent lives taken by gang wars that made him want to change.
You have 7 different entities that say what we got will stop the violence.
They scared of the boys. They scared of the teenagers. Scared of the juvenile. You won't even see them in the same room with the people you trying to save. So how you going to be a hero?
The uncle and nephew say it's rare to have intergenerational conversations about how they can make a difference. Yet, here they are.
The streets is also an institution. It got everything these other institutions got. It don't look like it in, tangible terms, but they got to speak their own language. They got a code of conduct. They have a stipend. If you they got internships, they got missions.
Little Rock, not just the police department, not the community activists, not the churches. It's going to take all of us coming together. That's the cure to this violence.
You can love these streets, and you already know what I'm getting at. You can love these streets, but the streets will never love you.
They'll never love you.
In Little Rock, Jay Jackson, THV 11 News.
Now, we are inching closer to Arkansas's primary and gubernatorial elections this year. We continue our efforts to keep you informed on who and what is on the ballot. This year, 6 people are hoping to be elected as Arkansas's next governor. Today, Democratic candidate Chris Jones continues his 30-day, 75-county tour right here in Pulaski County. He says he's using the time to stop at diners, courthouses, and even gas stations to talk with some of the people that live in those communities about topics they value. He shared that one of his main goals for the tour is to bring more Arkansans out of the house and to the polls.
So voter registration is critical, and it's part of 5 components. There's voter registration, voter education, voter engagement, voter turnout, and vote protection. And we're starting now with voter registration because it matters.
Jones's tour continues tomorrow in Camden, and later next week, he still plans to visit Harrison, Mountain Home, Jonesboro, and his hometown of Pine Bluff. And current Governor Asa Hutchinson sends out the COVID numbers as he did today with the latest data for the state. The good news is hospitalization and deaths have dropped. Health experts believe that this is because the Omicron variant is losing its steam, but we can't let our guard down just yet. Since yesterday, the Arkansas Department of Health reports more than 1,600 cases, and sadly, 31 more people have died from complications of the virus. Arkansas hospitals saw a decline of more than 40 COVID-related cases. But it's important to remember that a result of lower testing numbers could be impacted by closed testing sites due to the winter weather. And California's COVID-linked death toll has surpassed 80,000, which is more than any other state. And nationally, more than 900,000 Americans have died since the pandemic began. But as Omicron retreats and hospitalizations trend down nationally, there's renewed hope that this COVID surge might be the last. Michael George reports from New York.
It took less than 2 months for COVID-19 related deaths in the U.S. to jump from 800,000 to 900,000. That's more lives lost than the number of people living in several U.S. cities, like San Francisco or Indianapolis. President Biden on Friday worked to put the situation in perspective.
The physical and emotional weight of the pandemic has been incredibly difficult to bear for so many people. But here's the good news. We have the tools to save lives and to keep businesses open and keep schools open, keep workers on the job.
And now the Omicron variant is showing signs of receding, with new daily cases dropping by nearly 500,000 since mid-January. And according to Johns Hopkins University, every state is seeing a decline in new daily case numbers. That comes as a relief after the highly contagious variant also took a toll on the youngest Americans.
For the last several months, while Omicron has been surging, children 0 to 4 years of age have been hospitalized at 3 times the rate of children between 5 and 17 years of age, and at a rate equivalent to adults.
This week, Pfizer asked the FDA to grant emergency use authorization for 2 doses of its COVID vaccine for children under 5. Meanwhile, the drug maker is researching whether 3 doses would be more effective for that age group. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
And the number of Americans in the hospital with COVID-19 has declined by 15,000 since mid-January, now to about 124,000. And between the pandemic and these colder months, blood donations are down, and now the Arkansas Blood Institute is asking for your help. The icy conditions we had over the past few days are making it even harder for ABI to keep blood stocked at local hospitals.
We've got some work to rebuild. The last 2 days has really wreaked havoc on current supply levels.
You can visit their website, abi.org, to find a donation center. And something else to consider when giving blood, convalescent plasma treatments, or CCP. The Arkansas Blood Institute offers this therapy, which can be used to help those struggling to fight COVID-19. The ABI is asking for donations to both produce CCP and to increase their blood donations overall. The organization is also extending its free COVID-19 antibody testing through tomorrow. If you want to donate, you can find times and locations also on their website, arkbi.org.
A beautiful sunset this evening. We are going to be seeing whatever melted today refreeze overnight, so just watch out for some black ice. Otherwise, we have some warmer days in store as we head into the new week. A look at that forecast is just ahead.